The long story short, there is no science. It's more of an art than a science. But the closer we get to our customers, the better, deeper relationships we have with them, the more likely it is that they won't go dark in the first place.
Hello and welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Chandni, and we're really glad to have all of you join us today. On this show, we talk to CX and tech experts from around the world. We explore, uncover, and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customers will remember and look forward to. Engati is the world's leading multilingual, no code digital CX platform available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO magazine, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, Aaron Thompson is a Chief Revenue Officer at SuccessHACKER, the leading provider of customer success enablement and education. He's a keynote speaker and educator in the customer success domain with over 20 years of experience helping enterprises power their growth from the customer asset. Aaron has dedicated his career to helping companies improve retention rates, increase recurring revenue, and recoup customer acquisition costs. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Aaron.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. And I don't know if I want to keep that 20 years experience on there now that I hear it. Starts to age me pretty quickly. So I'll have to look into revising that bio. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, thanks for allowing me to be a part of this.
The pleasure is all ours, Aaron. But before we dive into our interview with Aaron, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap on the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders around the globe. So, diving right into the interview, Aaron, my first question to you is how can we enable and empower our teams to be good drivers and good users of the tools we give them to be successful in their careers?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. It's right in line with the messaging that I've been trying to put out into the customer success community and industry this year and even back into 2020. It's a people problem to be fixed, in short. When you look at how to operationalize a customer success organization, what we've seen over 5 to 6 years of data is the average lifespan of a head of customer success or VP of customer success is about 18 months. And I lived that myself. I was the head of customer success. And the first time I developed a strategy, I implemented it. And 12 months later, they frankly didn't need me around anymore. And I was able to actually exit, and then I became an entrepreneur, and I've been doing this stuff ever since. And the reason that we see this happen a lot of times is leaders will come in to quote fix a churn problem. That's oftentimes why they hire a head of CS, just like when I got my first head of CS job. And a lot of times we'll come in and we'll purchase some technology or tool without really teaching the team either how to use it or when and why to use it, and without really understanding our customer to a good enough detail around adoption, engagement, what makes a ideal customer profile versus maybe a stretch fit or even a bad fit customer. We don't understand that. And then we come in and we use this big tool that has profound impact, but if it's not used effectively and correctly to fix the right problem, then we end up not fixing that churn problem and oftentimes finding ourselves looking for our next opportunity. So this is right in line with what we feel at SuccessHACKER. That's our logo, by the way. That's a unicorn, if you couldn't tell. And that's what we aim to do, is enable the people to be those unicorns that our hiring managers are always looking to find, with that domain experience, product expertise, and then customer success best practices and experience therein. And that's what we do at Success Coaching, is really help enable the people. But the reason we see this is because, like I said, we've been fixing the wrong problem. We've been approaching customer success as though the tool will fix it. But much like marketing teams, if you use a marketing automation tool, but you don't have marketing strategy and understand your total addressable market and why you're going after these ICPs, it's not going to be successful. And we've seen that play out over and over again. So I love this messaging for Engati here, that we want to look at enabling the humans, because at the end of the day, it's the people that use the tools that'll ultimately make it successful or not. And not only just teaching them how to use the tool, but when and why, and actually having some proven strategy behind it is what will ultimately make the organization fix the churn problem, or whatever the increase the NPS, increase the customer satisfaction scores, employee engagement, whatever the problem is that we need to fix at a leadership level. It's always going to come back to the people and making those teams better. So I love the direction that you're going with this, and it's right in line with what we're hoping to continue to move the industry into, which is really addressing the correct problem, the people.
Thank you so much for that, Aaron. And it is not just the tool that we use, but also what strategies, what mindset we have behind using the tools. And you very well explained that. So thank you so much for that. Moving on to my next question, can you please explain us the customer success related to employee success model of yours?
Yeah, I actually had a post about that on LinkedIn, and I don't know if we can link to it, but if you look at a typical land and expand sales funnel where you have marketing doing demand generation at the top, you've got your sales team in the middle of the funnel helping kind of shepherd that decision-making process. And then, oh yeah, I can move this actually now that I don't have the donkey back there. And then you've got customer success down at the bottom, helping the customer become onboarded in a very frictionless experience, getting their legs under them. We call that optimized, and then leading to renewal. You can apply the same exact principles around identifying an ideal customer profile and focus it internally. And now we're looking for ideal employee or ideal teammate profiles. And instead of marketing at the top of the funnel, we've got recruiting, who's out there letting everybody know that we have jobs that are available, et cetera. And then we've also got, and bear with me, I need to close them, there we go. And then in the middle, instead of sales, we have your hiring management team and whoever else is involved in kind of the decision process. Then you have the bottom of the funnel, which is literally employee onboarding. I've started at companies where I got there on the first day and I check in at the desk. You know, this is pre-COVID, right? Where we actually met with people in a building. I mean, those days are crazy, I know, but they did happen. And I'd come in and they're like, "Oh, today's your first day? Oh man, let me find let me find your manager." And they're like, "Okay, well, here's your desk. Go to IT and get a laptop or something." And totally had no idea I was even coming in to begin my career with them that day. Versus I've had other companies where I came in, they had my laptop on my desk, my phone was set up with my name on it already. They had my first day broken down by hour, my first week broken down by day, and my first month broken down by week in terms of things I should focus on, people I should meet, etc. And I was hooked, right? The second you walk in and you feel like they've brought on new employees 1,000 times, I love this place because it's all about that first impression. New hires and new customers are exactly the same. That onboarding is the most critical stage of their life cycle. And if your customers feel that you've onboarded 1,000 different times and it's very prescriptive and proactive and tactical, they know exactly what to do and how to do it, they start off on the right direction, and it has profound impact on retention rates. Same thing with employees. If your employees come in and they've got a friction-filled kind of onboarding experience, whether it's their first day or even first month, et cetera, they are already thinking, did I make the right decision here? They didn't even know I was coming in today. This was a life-changing event for me. I used to work somewhere else and now I work here, and they didn't even know it was beginning. You know, and so that lack of care, lack of focus on the customer experience. Think of your employees or your teammates as customers. If we have that lack of focus, we create friction in those relationships the same way we do with our external customers. And so we can literally take everything from customer health scores to engagement maps, to advocacy plays, for example. So when our customers are out in the community talking about us and they generate a net new lead into our business by way of a referral or advocacy, that's a very low customer acquisition cost relative to marketing and sales and top of funnel spend. Same thing with recruiting new employees. If our employees love us, our teammates love us, and they're talking to their friends and colleagues out in the meetups and communities and conferences, et cetera, webinars, what have you, and they say, boy, I love working at Success Coaching. You should check it out. I think we're hiring. Now that's a whole new employee or teammate that we didn't even have to recruit and reach out to. And they're already interested in our business because we've built the business from the teammate asset outwards, just like in customer success. We want to build the business from the customer asset outwards. Literally every single customer success kind of foundational component. So everything that goes into a robust customer success strategy, health scoring, journey mapping, engagement monitoring, all the things, even NPS, for example, can be applied internally, and we will have profound impact on our employee engagement, our new employee acquisition costs, our employee retention and how long they stay, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one thing I love about customer success is it's not only just the nuts and bolts of how to do it every day. You can apply it in many different ways. One way is actually looking at your teammates internally as customers and applying the same logic and strategy and principles inwards as we do outwards. And we will have the same profound effects on our relationships internally, just like we do externally.
Absolutely. And at times, companies also forget that your internal employees are also stakeholders and very important ones. And, it's very important to have them or, take care of them just like you take care of your customers. So very well put ahead. Moving on to my next question, Aaron. How do businesses re-engage your laggards? What do when customers fall off?
Sure. Yeah. So we actually cover this in our level 1 certifications. We've got officially accredited certifications in customer success management. And the first level, one of our courses in that program is called Reengaging Disengaged Customers. And it's something we all have to battle. The long story short, there is no science. It's more of an art than a science. But the closer we get to our customers, the better, deeper relationships we have with them, the more likely it is that they won't go dark in the first place. Now, some reasons that we see customers go dark, the number one reason that we see is because we haven't provided value every single time we've touched the customer. So if I'm going to send you an email, or I'm going to make a phone call, or I'm going to get you on Zoom, if I'm going to take 1 minute of your time, that's the other thing. I'm just going to go on a tangent for a second. Customers' time is much more valuable than their money. Typically, it's not their own money, it's the company's money, unless they're an entrepreneur or something. And even if it is their own money, they can make more of that. They will never make more time. And so we have to be really, really self-aware about that. When we're asking our customers for time, even if we think it's in their best interest, if they don't perceive the value from it, then, and if we do that consistently, provide no value when we touch a customer, that then creates a disengagement situation, right? If every time I open an email from you, you're giving me some piece of value, and ideally that value, by the way, has to do with me, my company, my industry, my customers, not you and your product, right? Telling me that you have a new bell or whistle or feature, a new release is coming out, you think there's value there. I probably don't, because I don't, unless I've come to you and say, tell me when this comes out. If you just cold send me something, now it's a marketing thing, it's customer marketing, you're selling into me maybe, and you start moving from a trusted advisor to back into a vendor. And so the more we can provide value every single time we touch a customer, the better chance we will have that they won't go dark, that they won't become disengaged. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is 99 times out of 100, when they do go dark, it doesn't have anything to do with you. That's the other thing that we teach. There's a million reasons why they might go dark because they are holistic humans. They've got a personal life with kids and school and illness and weddings and babies and all the stuff that goes on in life. And then they got their professional life that has all sorts of things that don't have anything to do with you. So it's an exercise in self-awareness. I often say that customer success is a business's stream of self-awareness. It's our ability to look in the mirror and say, where do we fit in our customer's holistic life? And it might be a really small piece, and that's okay. The customer might be my whole world. I might only have one account, and so they are the most important thing professionally for me. It doesn't mean that it's the same way on their perspective. And so our job is to understand where we fit into that and deliver their desired outcomes through their desired experience. If we can understand how we fit into their work style, their work life, and really where they're busy, when they're not, when they would like to sit down and talk to us strategically, and when they don't want to hear from us at all, there's all these different things that we have to pay attention to. And then our job as customer success managers and leaders is to understand what's atypical. So if this customer used to always reply to my emails and now they're not, that might be a sign of disengagement. It also might not. It might be a sign of something that has nothing to do with you. In fact, it probably is something that has nothing to do with you. Adoption falls off. Maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just the end of their fiscal year and you have a product that isn't a daily product. Maybe it's a weekly or a monthly product or a project focused product. So understanding our use cases, our value propositions, and where that fits into the customer's overall life is really what it comes down to. And then when you go to re-engage, we advise along, I think there's 4. Let me see if I can come up with them off the top of my head. The right channel, the right message, the right person, the right time. Those are the 4 things that you have to get right. If you're going to try to re-engage me, if I actually am disengaged because I haven't gotten value every time you've touched me, you've called me for check-ins, I don't need a check-in. You're the one who needs the check-in. And so I don't want the check-in. I don't want to, it's update calls and stuff. I know what's going on in my world. The check-in's for you, right? And so if you keep asking for that kind of stuff, I don't get value from it. Maybe I do go dark and now you're going to attempt to re-engage me. You must get all 4 of those right. You've got to pick the right channel, email, text, IM, Slack, whatever, the right time of day. Got to know what time I'm in my email box, etc. It better have the right message and tailored for me as your audience, right? So if I'm an executive, it's going to be more bullet points and straight to it. If I'm an individual contributor, it's a little softer probably. And, I hope you're doing well, things like that. Right channel, right message, right, and then the right person, right? I've obviously still got to be in that position. I've got to be the one that you need to get a hold of, etc. And so in these days of a lot of turnover and people coming and going through COVID, etc., the people are changing all the time. So the closer we have these relationships with our customers, the more likely we are to understand what's typical and what's atypical and what other things are happening. That's what allows us to prevent those dark, disengaged situations, or at the very least, when we're in them, understand if it has anything to do with us or not. So like I said, it's more of an art than a science, but there are those 4 components that go into a successful re-engagement campaign. And if we don't get all 4 of them right, we're probably not going to get that person to respond.
Absolutely. So other than these 4 points that you stated, Aaron, are there any other ways on how to bring back a lost customer? Any tips for our viewers?
Well, we've got some like extreme situation kind of examples in our certification as well. Depending on the customer and how important they are and how atypical this is, there's some really out there kind of things you could do. Send them food or a gift. Typically speaking, people will reply at least with a thank you. I've seen the event bump where, they have a booth at a conference, for example, buying a ticket and going to their booth so you can get face to face with them, something like that. There's other sort of extreme things that we could do as well. Also, like working with sales and partnering internally to find out, has anybody else heard from them? Ideally, that'll all be tracked in your CRM, but in today's mobile age, a lot of times account execs and outside, sales reps they're on the go and they're on their mobiles, and that's not stored in your CRM. And so we don't know if anybody's talked to them, even if there may not be emails, maybe someone's picked up the phone. And a lot of times they have a different level of relationship. The AE will have a level with the sponsor, and we might have a relationship with the champions. And so being able to get further up in the organization. The other thing is having multiple relationships and really mapping that out so that you have multiple stakeholders involved, because if something happens and someone's on vacation or hits the lottery and never comes back to work, or whatever the case may be, having other phone numbers to call or other emails that we can reach out to helps us stay engaged as well. But like I said, more of an art than a science. There is no real right or wrong way to do it. What we want to do is have as deep of a relationship as possible, be as closely knit with those holistic humans. Again, getting to know them as people. When I say customer, I don't mean logo or company. I mean person. And that person has a personal life and professional life, and good things happen and bad things happen, and all of it is going on and affects all of it. And so the more I know them as a human, the better chance I have to know what's really going on and maybe causing this disengagement, if in fact it even is disengagement, because it may not be. They just may be really busy right now, and now's not the time to talk. And so it's our job to understand the difference, but no real right or wrong answer to these, and none of it's easy. If it is, we would all maintain engagement with our customers all the time. The fact of the matter is, we've all got more to do than there is time to do it. Your customers are exactly the same. And so be really, really careful with the time that you ask of them. Even if that's just answering an email or even reading an email, be succinct with how you communicate. Don't write me a big, long email that's going to take me 10 minutes to read. That's one that I'm going to flag and come back to, and we'll see how long it takes me to come back to it. Give me something I can answer quickly as I'm going through my inbox, and you're more likely to stay engaged or keep me engaged with you.
Absolutely. And I personally like the first idea that you gave. Food works for everybody, no matter what, who, where, when. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. So moving on to my next question, Aaron. How do businesses reduce churn with better product adoption?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think, the typical customer success definition, right? CS equals CO plus CX. The customer's definition of success equals the customer's desired outcome plus the customer's desired experience. If we can deliver the outcome in the experience they want, that'll be a high volume of success. And as long as we can demonstrate that to them, that should lead to renewal. And so where adoption and engagement comes in is on the CO part of the formula. There is no way, if you're not using my product, there's no way for me to deliver your desired outcome. And so if we early in our life cycle, early in our relationship, even before onboarding, when you're still a prospect, 75 to 90% probability to close, let's say. And so you're almost at the end of your sales cycle. That's when I start to define, I break customer success down into 3 Ds. And luckily for me, this is how I can keep it all straight. You got to define what success is. You've got to deliver that definition, and then you've got to demonstrate that you've delivered it. So that it starts with the defining of what it is, CS equals CO plus CX. And so before I even sign you as a customer, I want to define what success looks like to you in terms of a desired outcome and a desired experience. Then I'm going to bring you on board. We're going to deliver that definition, and I'm going to use that as my North Star in terms of what you care about and what you want to ultimately accomplish. And when I'm delivering that, and we're doing our tactical meetings and our business reviews, et cetera, then we move to that business review layer with the sponsor, and that's where I'm going to demonstrate the fact that I've delivered it. So that's our chance to kind of check in and say, again, I don't want to use the word check in, provide value and say, look, here's what you decided or we decided would be success for you. Here's your definition. Here's how we delivered it over the last 90 days. And what do you want to do for the next 90 days? And we now update the definition and away we go. So from a product adoption perspective, where that comes in is the delivery of it. I can't deliver your desired outcome if you're not using the tool. I'm assuming you need the tool in order to accomplish it, and that's why you're paying us money. If you don't, then you're probably not going to stick around. I don't know why you're a customer in the first place, right? And so I'm assuming that you have to use it to accomplish the CO. So that being said, if you're not using it, now I can come back to you and say, look, we defined that this is what success looked like, the accomplish of this desired outcome, but you're not using the tool. Thus, I'm not going to be able to help you accomplish that. And so before we get to the business review, even, I'm calling out the fact that your lack of engagement is causing a lack of accomplishment of your definition of success. It's all about you. It's not about my numbers and my engagement percentages or anything else. It's that you said you wanted to accomplish this thing. To do so, you have to use the tool, and you're not using the tool. So I can confidently say, you're not going to get your definition of success. Let's talk about what we need to change in order to be able to deliver that definition or come up with a new one. If in fact, maybe now there's not a pain point that drives the need for the use of the product, well, then I don't want you as a customer, right? I don't want you paying me money for nothing. You've got to be getting value. And so if we don't have engagement, if we don't have adoption, if we don't have utilization of the product, we have an inability to deliver that desired outcome. And as long as you can pull it back to my original definition of success, now it's all, for me as your customer, you're showing me what's in it for me, as opposed to what's in it for you. That then can drive retention, expansion, advocacy, and ultimately success for that customer.
Absolutely. So this leads me to our next question, Aaron. What is the one customer success best practice you've applied in the last few months that has had a positive impact on your business in your role? And how can it help other businesses?
Well, it's interesting. So yeah, personally, what have I applied? So being our chief revenue officer, I manage our sales operations and organization. And what I've imposed most recently, the thing that comes to mind, is actually disqualifying prospects as they're coming through our funnel. I'm getting better at identifying who our ideal customer profiles are and that we can provide immense value for, and who maybe is not only just not a good fit, but really is not a fit at all. And I'm disqualifying those out of our pipeline more quickly. That's then allowing me to spend more time with those ideal customers and really making sure that we're bringing on not only customers that are going to achieve their desired outcomes up front, but over time as well. So we have multiple levels of certification, so we can grow with our customers as they grow and become more sophisticated in their own organizations and strategy. We have opportunities to help along the way. And so understanding who we are first and foremost, and what we do really, really well, and then matching that to prospects and actually disqualifying the ones, or at the very least, right sizing the accounts so that we're tacking on some additional professional services if we think that's going to be required to make them successful. So with education, what we, our business is education and certification, all for customer success. I like to say that and this is an old adage to my father, actually. He told me this years ago, probably in reflecting on my own schooling and when I was a young boy. Education is the one thing people will pay to not get. They'll actually pay money to not get the education. Rather than reading the book, they'll buy the summary of the book, for example. Things like that, right? And so we're always battling this like, people want to get certified, but they don't want to actually take the time and put in the effort to learn the skill set. And understanding what that looks like early allows us to right size it so we can have not only subscriptions that's self-paced, but live coaching with myself or my business partners to help drive accountability, because I see that you're not necessarily going to engage and adopt the product. And what I don't want is for you to pay us money, never use it, and then go out there and tell everybody how big of a waste of time and money our products and services are. What I would rather do is not have you as a customer at all. And so getting better with that disqualification process has really helped us be more proactive in our sales cycle. And then it also allows us to be more proactive in the post-sale side of our business, right? So if I can be more efficient with my time, it really comes down to segmentation and understanding your ICP. And if I'm spending my time in a proactive, strategic way with my highest value customers, whether that's because of how much money they spend with us or their strategic importance, maybe they're a big logo or a vertical that they're in, and we're hoping to expand into that total addressable market, or expand our TAM into that market, whatever the case may be, they're high value. And I want to spend my time with them. What I don't want to do is spend my time with our bad fit, low value, squeaky customer that takes all of our time, right? And I have to live my life reactive, putting out their fires, and I never have time or I don't have as much time as I would like to be proactive and strategically working with those high value customers. That's basically a disqualification process. If we can get better at understanding our segmentation, understanding our ICP, we can focus our energy on the high value customers and those relationships, those holistic people, and less time on the low value ones, which we can sell them up into a premium support, professional services, training offering, whatever they might need in order to be successful and be more high value. But if they don't, then we need to let them manage themselves better or more and enable them at scale with knowledge management and things like that. Knowledge base, et cetera, user guides, whatever we can do, so that we can spend more time with those high touch. So I think that's probably the first thing that comes to mind that we've been getting better at Success Coaching, is really understanding our ICP at a more detailed level, and then not being afraid to tell a prospect, I don't think this is a good fit. And I've done that more in the last few months than I probably ever have in my career, and that's allowed me to spend time with the ones that are a good fit and ensuring that they're successful in their journey with us.
So on what basis do you decide whether the prospect is a high value customer or a low value customer, or a good prospect or a bad prospect?
It comes down to one of two things. Well, it's all about the outcome that they're looking to accomplish. And that outcome will always be either a pain that they're looking to relieve or a gain that they're looking to achieve. And so if they have a pain point that I know we can help with, then that's going to probably be a good ICP. And that's going to be one that I don't disqualify. If they're not really sure about what they're looking to accomplish in terms of a desired outcome, I might help them develop that. And we have tools that help with that as part of a boot camp that I do called outcome-based selling, where we sell what something does, not what something is. If they need a ton of help understanding what they're going to use our certification, training, coaching for, maybe they could still be a good fit, but probably they're not, because it means they haven't lived either a pain that brought them to us, or they're not looking for a specific gain, whether that be employee retention or NPS or customer retention, CSAT scores, net revenue retention improvements, gross revenue retention. Like, if they understand, I want to drive up my GRR, can you help us with that? Yeah, I can show you exactly how we can help with that. If they come to us and they're like, I didn't even know there was customer success certifications out there, I'm curious about it, that's a much less warm lead, I'll say. And they're probably just kind of learning that this is even a thing at this point. We're really at the exploration stages, as opposed to a real solid desired outcome that I know we can deliver upon. Also, if I have someone come to me with, like I had someone not long ago come, and they were the head of support. not success. And customer support is a part of customer success, but they didn't really have a customer success function. There was no proactive strategic engagement. It was all reactive and tactical. It's like, yeah, we can take your team through our training, but it's not support training. I mean, some of it applies, but it's not designed. It's designed for CSMs, not technical support reps. So I disqualified them. I said, you know what? I don't think this is a good fit. And that was that. And it blew their mind, right? Now, like, nobody ever disqualifies a prospect. What do you mean? Like, take my money, right? But I knew it wasn't going to be a good fit. And again, I would rather not have the customer than have a bad fit customer come on that's now unhappy and taking our resources away with questions and problems because we're trying to make it work. I'd rather, and then they go out in the community and instead of advocating for us, they detract from us and they tell people that it wasn't a good experience. And now we have a negative voice out there in the community instead of a positive one, or even no voice at all. And so disqualification has become really important lately, but it all comes down to that CO. If they have a pain or a gain that I know we can deliver on, yeah, let's talk and let's figure out how to make this work for budget and timeline and all the things. If you do not, then I'm probably going to tell you that, you know, we're not the right solution for you. And maybe I can recommend a better set or another direction to go. Or let's continue to understand more about what brought you into our funnel. Why are we having this conversation? And maybe I can discover and help you create that outcome, build that outcome with you around what we can actually help accomplish.
Yeah, I think those are some really important points, and the people watching the show would really, really benefit from them. So, any other thoughts that you would like to share with our audience before we wind up the interview?
You know, I would leave everyone with this. Customer success is a culture and a business growth strategy. It is a way to operate your business it was born in the subscription era. It was originally predicated on getting a little bit of revenue over time instead of a whole bunch of revenue up front. But it doesn't have to only exist in SaaS. Anytime I want my customer to renew, whether it could be insurance or services, even professional services, consulting requires customer success because I need to get a little bit of revenue over the contract as opposed to selling you one physical product that you pay a whole bunch of money for up front. And so anything as a service, even service as a service, customer success applies. But it's a philosophy of how to build your business and viewing your customers as the most valuable asset your business has, and growing your business from that asset, that customer asset, outwards. So focusing on your current customers and the revenue that they hold for your business as your primary driver, as opposed to top of funnel marketing and net new logos. Those will come, but we want them to come from the customer asset, from our advocates as much as possible so that the acquisition cost is much lower than typical top of funnel marketing spend. So think of customer success not just as a business unit or an organization or an amazing career in industry. And it literally changed my life when I found this customer success thing. I love it, and I love the people attracted to it, but that's not where we stop. We are a culture of how to operate your business growth from the customer asset outwards. And so I'd leave the group with that. Think of customer success as a philosophy and a culture, not just a business unit that manages the relationship post-sale.
That's a really great thought put out there, Aaron. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Your insights were really valuable, and I know our audience is going to enjoy this interview.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's great to be here, and let me know when we can do it again.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all ours. So we'll be back with a new episode and a whole new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you.